Since the bhava where the bhava lord goes is where they manifest the things related to the bhava that they rule, are the bhavas in a chart which have planets the manifesting areas of life. Okay. So the manifesting points we know are typically related to where Mercury and Jupiter are situated and where they are, in a sense, Rashi aspecting. That's on a very basic level, but it's sort of like a reservoir of energy that we can look at, that we can tap into. Now, there are only, 7 to 9 planets that we typically look at, but there are 12 houses. So sometimes nothing's going to be in a house. So I don't know if I would use the term manifesting. What I would say is the houses where a planet goes, where it exists, where it tenants, that's going to tend to be an area of life where people generally have more experience. So yes, it might seem like it's manifesting more, but it's just like that's where more of the attention is going. For example, some people have really heavy 6th houses. Well, what happens when you have a lot of planets in the 6th house? Well, these are individuals who tend to deal more with enemies, battles, competition, or they have more health issues or more service-related activities to engage in. And that defines their life. I mean, that's all they seem to be doing. Some people have more karmas in, say, or more planets in the 11th house. These are the kinds of people that you talk to them and like they're buying buildings and they've got all this money and they're renovating all this stuff and they just know how to do it. And that's like the emphasis of their life. I was talking with a woman today or yesterday, whose husband, he owns at least one restaurant business. He's in a business with another individual who, as I mentioned, buys big buildings and renovates them and does all this. He does a lot of things in that regard. And that's the extent of his life. That's what's going on almost all the time, because there's so much energy in this 11th house. I've never been involved in owning a restaurant. I've never been involved in buying buildings and renovating them. Why? Because I don't have karmas that are tenanting areas that support that. So I do have a house, luckily. I am able to participate in commerce so that I can provide for myself. But what do I spend most of my day doing? Studying, meditating, speaking, teaching. Why? Because most of my planets are situated to emphasize that. So when you're looking at a person's chart, wherever more planets are, really what that's telling you is what they're going to have more actual experience in. Things are going to happen more so in those areas. Let me double check the question. I want to make sure I'm speaking to it completely. So since the bhava where the bhava lords go is where they manifest the things related to that bhava they rule, are the bhavas in a chart which have planets that manifest in areas of life? I'm going to say, based on my understanding of the question, yes. And we also have to keep in mind not just where do the planets go. You have to look at what do those planets rule over. So if you have a lot of planets in the 10th house and it's the 7th lord and the 4th lord and the 8th lord and the 9th lord, well, we can kind of tie in there that there's a lot of mediation, there's legal issues, there's issues with people with fairness, justice, and so on happening in the 10th house. So we know that their career and their activities are going to pull in the energies of the lords of the houses that planet represents. And this is the meat of astrology. So once you kind of get all this under control, you're going to do very well.